So exchange of contracts is the terminology we use to describe when the contracts become legally binding. So for example, at an auction, that would be the day of the auction when the contracts are signed. When we're looking at private treaty, that would be not necessarily when the offer is accepted, but once everything's in order and then the contracts become binding.
Yeah, so once their finance is approved, deposits
right.
paid, contracts are signed, that would be an exchange
That's
contract.
correct, yeah.
And so that's unconditional, means there's no more changes, and then what's next after exchange?
So then our next goalpost or step is called settlement, and that's when we pay the rest of the money and the house legally transfers from the seller to the buyer. So there's usually a bit of a time frame between these two events, somewhere between 30 to 60, even sometimes 90 days. And the reason for that is oftentimes the banks on both sides will need time to prepare the funds for settlement.
Sure, and what if I can't settle by the due date? What happens then?
Well, speak to your solicitor about this, but there are clauses in the contract that tell us about what happens, depending on who's at fault, what happens. There are oftentimes penalties for the buy if they're delayed, so it's really important to make sure that you speak to your solicitor and speak to your bank to make sure that whatever time frame is on the contract is realistic for the bank to meet that deadline.
Sure, and settlement day is quite exciting for the buyer because that's the day they get the keys.
Absolutely, yeah. So settlement usually happens in the afternoon. You'll get the keys late in the afternoon and you can move in. Prior to that though, you should do a final inspection of the property just to make sure that you're happy with everything.
And what are the things that we should look for in that final inspection?
So if the property is sold with vacant possession, then you're making sure that whoever was living there before has moved out. They've taken their personal belongings and furniture and whatnot with them. And any fixtures that are supposed to be left behind, like the curtains and the blinds and that sort of thing, they're all still there. Should be reasonably clean and tidy, and you're making sure that everything is still as is. So for example, nothing's been damaged in the course of moving out.